What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Wingin podcast. Jack, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. Well rested, fresh off of vacation.
Yeah, you had a vacation. Trey.
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm good. I mean, I like a lot of other people, but I'm good.
Okay, so before we get into what the title of this episode is about, we're going to give our quick little thoughts on Gamescom. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I did not watch the opening night stuff with Jeff Keighley. By the time I had got off work, it had already been going on for probably about an hour and a half, and then I completely forgot about it. But I did catch some trailers, and what I wanted to do was just give you guys my favorites. My two favorites that caught my eye and what I'm actually looking forward to from that actual Gamescom. So the first one was Sonic Frontiers. That game looks like it's gonna be fun. They did show one thing that actually I thought was actually cool, but it depends on how it's gonna work out, and that is when they switch to the 2D part.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried, but then again, I was worried in Mario Odyssey when they did the whole 8-bit parts, but they actually wound up working. So,
see, my thing is, I'm always concerned about Sonic games. Like, I'm always concerned. Like, it can literally look like the game I want it to be, and I'm still concerned. Like, I just don't trust Sega, man. I really don't.
It's a legit concern.
Yeah, it's a legit concern. It really is. It really is. But I will say the open world aspects that they showed. Hey, it looks like it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it does.
Especially with giving Sonic his moveset, which will probably be in the next Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. And the other one was the AEW game Fight Forever, and they had. I'm glad they had Evil Uno and Colt Cabana there. It was alpha footage that they showed. And it was a match between Kenny Omega and Adam Cole. And I'm like, this looks like it's fun. It's giving me N64 WrestleMania 2000 No Mercy vibes. And that's what I want. I don't need ultra realistic. I need fun.
Yep.
I just need fun. So those are the two. And it's a long one because they did like 30 minutes with it. And then they did another 10 minutes of actual gameplay. And that's where they showed Colt Cabana and Evil Uno playing the game. So I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. That's one of the games I am looking forward to because it's been a while since I played since I had a wrestling game. So
yeah, I mean, even with me getting 2K23, it was cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is the thing, kind of similar to what I was seeing with some of these other games. We're kind of getting games back into games, opposed to trying to make everything real life. And that's what I'm enjoying about seeing this. It is a video game. It's not meant to be real life. And I love the aspect of that. And like you said, getting back into something that's an actual wrestling game and reminiscent of the games we used to play back on the N64 and even the PS2 to some extent.
Yeah. Now, the one thing, if you've ever watched AEW, they have a lot of weird and crazy matches. I don't know how they would do it, but I really hope they have a Stadium Stampede match in there. I really hope there's a way to do a Stadium Stampede match.
You've been champion for that for a minute.
Dude, that's probably I think the best match they ever put on was Stadium Stampede at All Out 2020. Yes, Dave Stampede All Out 2020 Elite versus the Inner Circle. That was hilarious and fun.
Okay.
So I would hope that they do. That's the one match I do want that they have. I know they said they have like a lights out match. They have it's another match type that they have. But that's the one. If they can actually, if there's a way they could do it, I'm hoping there's a way they could do Stadium Stampede match. But that's just me. Jack, anything that you saw that you liked?
Honestly, the odd enough the mini games is just adding another dynamic of the arcade, not take us too serious aspect of the game. Because I mean, a lot of times when you start talking about getting into, I guess, trying to replicate actual people, you like, okay, yeah, I have my favorite character, I have my favorite fighter, favorite basketball player, whatever you're playing, and once you do that, you kind of get burnt out. Unless you're doing like a multiplayer thing, and you know that's how they start introducing creative player. But when you start talking about these games that don't, well, this provides creative player for sure, but when you get out of that aspect of it, you look for more in the game. And the fact that they're offering mini games, and as silly as they are, there's still something that, you know, is fun, something that you can enjoy with the game. So that's what I liked about it. You know, I'm always looking for the bigger full matches for us to see everything and how it handles and how it looks and see how it controls. Ultimately, I just love the fact that it's not just, hey, even though this is our first iteration, here's exhibition and we'll give you more the next time we come around. It seems like they're throwing everything at this game, and not just trying to say, well, let's test the water. They're really going out. I like it.
I will say this. Ever since they did that with arms, where they put like volleyball and basketball out of nowhere, I'm like, yeah, if it's not supposed to be a simulation, throw craziness in there.
Yep.
Throw crazy weird and let's have fun.
Yep. And that's what I like. And you know, like I said, getting back to being a video game. Like, even though this is real, these are real people, it's still taking that. And that's what I liked about what was it? The WWF game that they had where it was like super arcadey.
All Stars.
All Stars, yeah.
All Stars, yeah.
So that game, yes, everybody's like bulky, but it's like doing moves all the way in the air, and that's what I like. It is like, I know there are people that love simulation. Don't get me wrong, but we used to have alternatives and variety, and that's kind of going away because everybody wants a full story. We want like realism. You know, even for my kids, they don't really understand the aspect of arcade because let's say Steph Curry goes and shoots 10 threes in a row and make it. My son has to master releasing at the right point, otherwise he thinks the game is broken because he's not making it the same way he's doing it on TV. So it's a whole thing, man.
Well, let me ask you this while we're on that subject right quick. Do you think that there needs to be, like, there's a resurgence of the side-scrolling beat 'em up? Do you think there needs to be like a resurgence of those arcade games like Blitz, like NBA Street, like even NBA Jam to an extent?
I feel like
I know Playgrounds tried to do it, but Playgrounds tried to be simulation and not arcade. They made it arcade looking, but wanted it to be a simulation because that's what that game just made me mad.
Yeah, and the one thing I didn't like about that game, I understood why they did it because you want the game to last, but you having to complete certain achievements to be able to level up characters and then unlock them or purchase them in some type of way, it was too much. So where you literally will get into a match and you only have like 4 people to play with, and then you got to level them up, and then like it's a whole thing. But yeah, I feel like there needs to be a resurgence of it because it's kind of where we're at now. So where you're looking at these different systems, and one is being called 8th gen because it doesn't look like the other ones, and it's because we're caught up in realism. And the idea of a video game is kind of dead right now, and that's where people are getting bored. They're getting washed out with video games because this bottle didn't break the way it was supposed to. This grass don't move the way it's supposed to. You know what I'm saying?
This water puddle doesn't reflect the
right.
Remember that?
Like, who gives a damn? Like that's the one thing that bothers the hell out of me. Is like, it's supposed to be a video game. It's not supposed to be real life. It's not. So that's why I feel like it needs to come back. But then also too, because I'm such a big fan of arcade sticks, I think we need to find a way to bring those back and have like a plethora of games to bring it back. And I feel like that's where Capcom and Sega killed it. But the moment that we went away from that, that's where they kind of dwindled a little bit.
Yeah, because they're still you got Hori and PDP. They still make fight arcade sticks, but
there's nothing to play really other than fight games.
Outside of that,
yeah.
You all right?
No, I'm at work, man. I had to stop to help somebody.
Oh, right.
Okay.
But so Gamescom, anything that you liked that caught your eye?
Outside of Sonic Frontiers and AEW, not much.
I mean, because a lot of stuff we already knew about.
Yeah.
Once again,
and those were the two most interesting things.
Yep.
To be honest.
Yeah. So I'm kind of glad that because last year I took off and I was mad.
Yeah, that's
why it wasn't worth it. It was not worth it.
Yeah. I'm like, I think last year was just one game that was actually that we hadn't seen. And I'm like, 4 hours.
Yep.
For one game that we didn't know. The rest of them we knew about.
Yep.
Like at E3 that like the month and a half before. I'm like, man, y'all better. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a question that we need to answer from our favorite hashtag fanbully.
Big Killer Clown. Okay.
So she wants to know, are we playing The Forest?
Okay.
I don't know.
So she's talking about the Forest sequel, but I remember I asked you about the whole Among Us thing on VR, and you still haven't even answered me about that. So I don't
know.
Ooh. Yep, because when I found out she even had a quest, I'm like, why are we not friends on Quest? And like, I heard shit from Vicky. I'm like, okay, I see how it is. You can bully me and try to force me into stuff, but you don't want to. When did I ask that? Look back when you asked that question out loud. You was like, I'm looking for people to play with when this come out, and I responded, hey, I'm here. No.
I exist.
So I don't know nothing about no Forest sequel. I don't even know what that is.
And we knew this was gonna happen. All right.
So where are the receipts?
Oh boy. Hashtag fanbully in the house. All right. So if y'all saw the title, Sony knows how to piss people off. So they're raising the price of the PS5 in pretty much every region except
everywhere but the US.
Yeah. So there are people defending it. There are people like y'all done lost y'all ever-loving mind. I'm on the side of grab popcorn and watch it fly.
You're on the outside group.
Yeah, I'm like this. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Corporations gonna corporate.
Yeah,
they gonna corporate. I mean, if they feel like they need to up their price to meet their needs, they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same reason why people get mad at Nintendo for not putting Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey on sale. They don't feel like they have to.
They really don't. I mean, but here's my thing with Sony though, and this is something I was thinking about when everybody was talking about this. Sony so far has been the only business I know that looks like they should be the most lucrative business, but in essence, it's like they're not. Like, yes, we sold 100 million consoles. Yes, we're the lead platform. But hey, we need to raise these prices. Like, the hell?
Yeah. Well, because when you're selling so much at a loss, like every console selling at a loss, you're not getting profit back. So even if you do sell 70 million, you might have just skipped by and broke even.
Yep.
So because that's what happened with PS3. Yeah, they sold 80 million, but
they ain't making much off.
They
ain't
made nothing out. Yeah,
they didn't make anything off of it. But that's why Iwata, God rest his soul, he told people that back in 05 and 06, and people laughed at him.
I'm fairly certain the first 20 million Wiis made more money for Nintendo than those 80.
Well, remember, all the Wii you had to do was sell one console and one game to make a profit.
Yeah,
I know, but I'm talking about the Wii.
Wii,
just
the
Wii.
Oh yeah, the Wii. Yeah, the Wii was the Wii, the DS was bringing in so much money, and they didn't have to spend that much to make it. So they were getting profit off top just for selling.
Yeah, they were making profit on the console and the games.
So, and I think like Switch was kind of sort of the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So
Switch started off selling, I think, dead even, but after a year, I think it was already raking in a lot of profit.
Well, before then, because remember, nobody expected Breath of the Wild to sell like it did.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Nobody did. So, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not defending Sony because I'm not looking at their numbers, so I can't tell you if they are justified or not.
Right.
The problem is it looks super sketchy when you up the price everywhere but one region.
But it also looks very sketchy too when just before this you were bragging about your profits. Like you can't brag about profits. It's like, oh, we need more money. Like
because sometimes, and you learn this in business, sometimes they embellish for the shareholders and the stockholders to make the stock price go up. But when you start looking at it, you're like, oh snap. This chip shortage really still is hurting us, and we can't put this many out. We can't put this many consoles out. We still got to put out the PS4 Pros. So,
if we being honest, Sony was not ready to put the PS5 out at all.
No,
they only did it. They only did it because they knew Microsoft was going to be putting out a console.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is the chip shortage hurt both of them.
Right.
It hurt both of them. So it's not like it's a series of unfortunate events. It's the pandemic, it's the chip shortage, and them not being ready to come out anyway.
Yeah.
They just weren't. And I kept telling people when Sony kept saying, oh, these are going to be PS5 exclusives. I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Because you got like 120 million install base right now. You ain't no way in the world you're going to tell me from a business standpoint that during the pandemic, you ain't going to make sure them games are playable on the PS4. There's no way.
No, all of them were built for the PS4 first.
Anyway, And then people got mad because they were going to PC. I'm like, why are y'all mad? It's not like you're not going to be able to play the game. Like, what are you mad about?
Because they lose talking points.
Yep, they miss talking. Yep, exactly.
But as, like I've always said, like the fact that Sony had to go to PC to make any money off of those games is a bad showing for them.
Yeah, it really is. But the writing was on the wall when they had to do it with Street Fighter V.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I can get a brand new PS4 exclusive for $20 3 months after its launch. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, that's not good. That really ain't good.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at PS5 games, they're not dropping as fast. At least not the exclusives. But when we think about what's coming up next with God of War, if I look at PS5 and I look at PS4, granted, graphically they may be different. But if I'm looking at that PS4 version and I'm saying, well, you know what, that dropped down about 30 or 20. I might go that route. Like it makes no sense for me to go to PS5 route. It really doesn't.
Because people are gonna start. Because you got to remember, like people are gonna be looking at that and be like, okay, look, I got kids, I got stuff.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be. I can wait 2 or 3 months, or wait till Christmas or something and grab a game that's gonna be $20.
Mm-hmm.
And you also got to consider that PS5 versions of some of their games have had bad performance issues, and getting the PS4 version has been better for it anyway.
Hey man, look, y'all are not going to deny the 16K at 285 frames a second.
Look, they can tout that all they want to with the 8K on the box, which I don't know why they did that, but it's one of those things to where the way I've seen it, other countries will make a fuss about it. We in the US will make a fuss about it and still pay for it. But when it comes down to this, it was already bad enough you couldn't give supply to demand. Now you're going to raise the price on that too. So when it does come out, you kind of helping the scalpers even more at that point. I don't know, man. It's
guess what? The scalpers can lower their price. The scalpers can lower their price a little bit and still make a profit. Like that's nuts. But this has been the weirdest generation. I've never seen anything like this.
Like I said, I'm just gonna grab my popcorn.
That's all you can do, man, at this point. Unless you're a part of the wars, and then that's when you get the bickering and fighting.
But ain't no point. It really ain't no point in that.
What I find funny though is that I made that video about whether or not Microsoft and Sony could have made their consoles cheaper for them to produce. And it just circles right back around to that idea. If y'all made your stuff cheaper to produce, this wouldn't even have been a problem.
No, it wouldn't.
Like, maybe not run to using an SSD. Maybe not run to the highest end of GDDR that you can get. How about, hey, maybe having that EDRAM or SRAM and just making that larger and then going ahead and using a hard drive and still getting very similar to the same effect, maybe slightly off, but then you'd be making a console that's far cheaper to produce. And hey, let's not have a disk drive. Let's have our games on carts.
Yeah.
Or just make the damn thing more efficient, and you don't have these problems. But we're not gonna talk about
that. Yeah, because honestly, that begs the question too. Like, what was the idea for Sony behind the PS4 Pro? Like, what was the point? Like, I get it. I feel like they wanted to, I guess, keep the energy up, but that the PS4 Pro, I feel like, killed the transfer to PS5. Because it wasn't so. It still went night and day difference between the basic 4 and the 5, but still, I don't know. I didn't understand the Pro, and then you wouldn't run with it, because I feel like if you're gonna put out the Pro and for Xbox to put out the Xbox One X, I think you could have drugged that out a little bit longer.
Well, I think Microsoft needed to do that, because remember, the day one Xbox One was, for lack of a better term, garbage.
Oh yeah. Still is.
The S actually fixed what was wrong with the one. Because I remember when I used to tell y'all, like, my upload never worked. My I forgot I was always dropping. When I would do chat, it was always dropping. Like, I never had a consistent one. But with the One X, it's way more consistent.
Okay.
The features actually worked. It wasn't an issue with the features not working. So I can understand why they did it. PS4 didn't have that problem.
No, they didn't.
They did.
I understand that. So
I'm wondering if they did because Microsoft did it. Because this the whole thing with Sony and Microsoft is to keep up with the Joneses type.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's hilarious and stupid to me, because Sony ain't got Microsoft money.
No,
they
not even close.
Don't. They just don't. They used to be one of the best electronics conglomerates on the planet until they tried to keep up with Microsoft.
Which is weird. Like, you had the market already.
Like, Microsoft does not view you as competition. Microsoft views Apple and Google as competition, not you.
Like, that's like me being the richest guy on the planet and then looking to see why other people are making money. Like, I'm already doing something right, so why would I be looking at anybody else? And Sony, like I said, to me, honestly, if somebody did a video, and Andre may have done it, you just never know with Andre, but if you go like PS1 to the 5 and then look at exclusives, they dwindle. A lot of those franchises go away, and it's like, and most of it was due to the fact that those were not real first parties anyway. They were just exclusive. But then it really you start begging the question of, was Sony really like that? The games are great. Don't get me wrong. The games they have are great. It's just, were they really that top tier company in lieu of, Kingdom Hearts is here, Tekken is here, Kingdom Hearts is here. Like,
the answer to that question is a resounding no.
Yeah, so because to me now you're looking at the fluff of it, because yes, when we say 100 million plus consoles every time except for the 3, and you see all these exclusives that people give to Sony, in reality they weren't exclusive. They were exclusive for that console, but they wasn't for Sony. Is Sony really that company?
And they don't have the attach rate, so you're not making
exactly
money. And you gotta remember, that's why it's one of the main reasons why Square Enix is in as much trouble as they are in, because they kept putting out all these high-end games and they weren't bringing in high-end profits.
No.
And you got to remember also, every time they make one, here's a movie, here's an OVA, all this stuff is costing money. They go into Fig Arts and making Fenrir and statues and all that. I'm like, but y'all ain't made the money.
My point exactly. So that kind of goes into the question, hey, as RJH was asking, like, how long do you think Sony will continue to do this? To me, I honestly think Sony's going to eventually burn the hell out.
Well, they already got rid of Sony in Japan. So Sony Japan, the studio Sony Japan. So
they're gonna burn out, and to me, that's where it's gonna get ugly for gaming. Because at this point, now it seems like both Microsoft and Sony are talking about doing away with exclusives altogether. Like they want everything to be everywhere, except for on Nintendo, of course. But they want everything to be everywhere. And as much as people claim that's what they want, they don't want it, not for real. So
the problem is, if you would have told me back in 2001, 2002 that this would be the route Sony take, I'd be like, you lying.
Yeah.
Why would they do that? They're winning. They're winning.
Exactly. On paper, they're winning.
No, I mean, like, but remember, with PS2, they were straight up because, let's be real, as much as I like Yamaguchi, he was not the nicest person to be around, and he pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah, he pissed off people. Like, he pushed people to Sony.
Yeah, and Sony pretty much had they neck on everybody's throat. Yeah. Like, bruh, like, their foot on everybody's throat. I'm like, bruh, there's no way. They had the RPG market. They had it. Mm-hmm. Square was theirs. Square wasn't going nowhere else.
Nah, not even close. No.
Namco, Namco would throw a couple games everywhere every now and then, but the majority of their stuff came out on PlayStation first.
Yeah. So, and that also begs the question too, like, Sony did this the right way out the gate. Like, they did it the right way. Like, when you talk about what developers wanted, when you talk about price points, what they were getting or what they had to pay to actually have their games on the console, dev kits and all that other stuff that most of these documentaries go over, they were doing it the right way. You know, everybody wanted to go disc based, memory cards being a thing like that. They were doing it the right way, but at some point,
well, it was when Microsoft got in.
Yeah, Microsoft,
because when it was Nintendo, Sega, and Sony, gamers ate.
Oh yeah,
well.
For sure.
We ate well, because guess what? They were all. It wasn't a war; it was a competition. It was rivalry. Yeah. They were trying to one up each other on games, and that's what it was. As soon as Microsoft come in and started passing out blank checks, Sony said, "Hey, we can do that too." Microsoft, like, okay, yeah, right, and they tried.
Yeah, mine is bigger than yours at this point, because
there is no excuse why we haven't got another Sly Cooper, another Jack and Daxter.
Exactly.
Even if Naughty Dog wanted to be more mature or whatever, pass that off to another studio.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, good enough.
That's all you got to do.
But you let Activision get Spyro. You let Activision get Crash. You let Activision get, who else they got? It was Spyro, Crash, and somebody else.
Wasn't that it? As far as mascot.
It was Spyro and Crash that Activision took.
Yeah, but it was somebody. It was one other one that they had that they took. I can't remember. Anyway,
talking about Jack and Daxter, because I'm pretty sure they still got them.
No, they still got Jack and Daxter. It was somebody else though, because Activision got some of them. Then who else got another one? Because they had
about Tomb Raider. Because didn't they get them first and then it went?
Well, no, that was always Eidos though.
That was always
Eidos. Okay.
That was Eidos. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look it up later. But yeah, y'all, you get what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, because Naughty Dog made that statement, I want to say back in like 2007 or 8, like, oh no, we want to be more mature. That's when they started doing Uncharted and all of that. I'm like, that's cool.
Cool,
Sony.
Yeah. And that's when they stopped selling as much.
Yeah. Like, Sony, you got other studios. You ain't got one studio. You got other studios. Pass that off. I'm like, and look, Mario is about as well known as Mickey.
Yes.
Not by accident.
Not even close.
That is not by accident. So, I mean, and Sonic, as much as we have a love-hate relationship with Sonic,
he up there too.
Sonic is still recognizable.
Oh yeah. Now with the movies too, he's even more recognizable. Like he's coming into the modern age.
I mean, Sonic actually stole from Akira Toriyama, which daggone Super Saiyan.
Do what you got to do.
I'm waiting for him to go Super Saiyan Blue.
Hey, Sonic said I had to do something because Dragon Quest ain't on that level.
Listen. He already did it. Technically, he already did that in the comics. We ain't gonna say too much though.
Yeah. We can't. Yeah.
Well, before there was a Super Saiyan Blue.
Well, as long as he don't go Beast Gohan, that'll be fine. But anyway, Yeah,
hey, that's what hyper is.
Yeah, basically, basically, because he is silver when he goes hyper. Yep. But yeah, it's one of those situations. I don't know. I know how Sony can fix it, but they're not gonna do it.
No, they're not even gonna do it. We know that.
Because they're trying to keep up. They're trying to play keep up. If they would stop playing keep up and focus on themselves and go back.
You mean the thing that Nintendo did?
Yeah, and go back and say, you know what? It was wrong for us to close Studio Japan. We're opening it back up. Not only are we opening it back up, we're gonna let these guys get to work on doing what they want to do.
Now, as far as the Japanese culture, do you think they would take that? Because I feel like they would still be on like some fuck you. Like you shouldn't have done it.
Japan is loyal to they do. If Sega came back, Japan would
But that took a minute though. Like
but that's Sega though, and they've been out of the console market for a minute.
Yeah. But I'm just saying though, I can see if they come back with good faith, they will do that.
Yeah, I feel like over time they will. And I mean, because Sega was still around from an arcade standpoint, but when we talk about console and what you were supposed to represent, and now that with this price increase, Japan is getting the biggest increase, and they literally get shafted at this point. Yeah. So I mean,
but to me, I'm
like, screw you. I'm not doing this no more.
Well, a lot of them done already switched over to Switch anyway.
Yeah. So because I mean, it's talking about space wise, because I couldn't imagine having a PS5 in those small ass Japanese apartments. Ain't no way in the world I got that big furnace sitting in my house. So that's not happening.
Yeah. So, and I was never understand why they went with that design, but whatever. All right, let's move on from the depressing rise, depressing fall of Sony into the more depressing and somewhat hilarious EA.
Yay!
So EA. If y'all don't know by now, EA's been trying to get bought. They've been begging somebody to buy them. And it came out earlier this week that it was rumored that Amazon was trying to buy them. But that's not the case anymore due to Amazon having some legal issues of their own. So I wanted to get you guys started. Now, if EA really is on the chopping block, who can buy them? Because I'm thinking Google, probably 10 cents. At this
who point, would or who can?
Who can? Because it ain't gonna be Apple and it ain't gonna be Amazon. Because right now they got some legal troubles right now.
Yeah.
And Microsoft, I don't think the CEO's gonna let them buy somebody else.
No, because they didn't bought too much stuff already.
Yeah. And to be fair, when they bought ZeniMax, they weren't trying to get Bethesda. They bought ZeniMax.
Nah, they bought ZeniMax
for other stuff. That it wasn't for Bethesda. Bethesda was just part of it.
Bethesda just fell into the bag.
Yeah, right. Because people think, they bought them to get Bethesda. No, they didn't.
No, they were there by default.
The only thing they bought that they went and got was Activision, which I'm surprised that was allowed to go through. But I think if
that's still going, isn't it?
Huh?
That's still going, isn't it? Like it's getting dangerous to close. But
well, they cleared the last major hurdle.
Okay.
But so it's pretty much right now. I think it's just like the contracts and stuff.
As soon as that last bit of that contract is filled out, there's going to be some mass firings from Activision boys.
Oh yeah.
And when you really think about that, we just had this conversation about Sony with Spyro and Crash. Now Microsoft has them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But here's the thing about the game division at Microsoft. I don't think they care.
They don't give a
like
damn.
That.
Nah, they don't. they don't care.
Like they like because think about it, dude. If I'm Microsoft and I got Banjo and Kazooie, why in the hell would I ever let him go to Smash? No, you're not going to Smash. You mine. I own you.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, no, you can go. Minecraft, and Minecraft Legends. Yeah, y'all can play that.
But
the other Minecraft game that's about to come out. Yeah, y'all can play that too. I don't think they care like that.
I don't think they care like that.
And on top of that, they're like, oh yeah, you can put those on there and they're cross-platform. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Because either way, they're still getting money off top.
Oh yeah, because my thing is like when you look at Crash just came off one of his hottest games. Yeah. So if they ever in their life decide to say, oh, this is exclusive on Game Pass, like that's a wrap. Like now I don't think they'll do it because I don't know what the sales number looked like, but I'm pretty sure it was a pretty even split across the board, especially when you talk about how great the Switch version looked because they did it from the ground up. But yeah, I don't know. Like Microsoft's smart. They're not stupid because Minecraft, they could have pulled Minecraft from everywhere, but that would have been a big mistake.
That would have been such a big mistake. Mm-hmm. They bring in that once again. That's just easy money for them.
Yeah.
This is easy money, you know. And you know, hey, the Amiibo.
No, honestly, what would be easy money for Microsoft after this Activision Blizzard deal goes through, even though I doubt that they'll do it. Banjo, Crash, and Spyro in a game together, because they're all adventure type characters.
True.
And you can do a collectathon for the whole group.
True.
I mean, well, that's one of the things I've been saying for the past few years. Like, Microsoft, well, now anyway, and Nintendo, there's no excuse why you can't have crossover games.
No reason.
That ain't close.
Like, Sony used to do it, but they can't do it now. But I'm like, there's no excuse for like Microsoft and Nintendo to not have games where your characters, and Smash Bros. Doesn't really count. That's not the kind of crossover I mean. When I say crossover, I mean like what was rumored to happen on the GameCube between Metroid and Star Fox. That's what I mean by crossover. There's no excuse. Like Halo and Gears, I can see that being a crossover. I can, because to me, I can see how that can work. I don't know if they'd ever do that, but that's just an example, you know.
I would think more. I would think more Gears and Doom would make more sense, honestly.
The only thing Doom should ever cross over with is Animal Crossing, sir.
Yeah, hey, realize how chaotic that would be.
You know how much fun. Hey, look, Bethesda themselves said they like the idea. So, hey,
I made the video. They just gotta do it.
Yeah. So y'all know where to go steal. Go watch that video.
Go and get that Doom Animal Crossing so Isabel can rip and tear.
Yeah. Like I said, I think if as stupid as it sounds, if developers cared about gaming, we would have most of this stuff already. But now it's about turning a profit.
Doom and PGA golf.
All right.
I could imagine it, but I'm not going to do that right now.
But we need the Super Rush mode from Mario Golf in it though.
Yeah.
What would Doomslayer's rush mode be though?
Shoot up.
BFG. BSG.
That's pretty much
BFG
it.
And then throwing like a hell spawn at somebody to get
Just clear the field. Clear everybody out.
Oh man. And somehow you still see like either Waluigi or Luigi like getting past them. But all right, so next topic. Embracer bought Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal. Now this was actually on Push Square, so if you have a chance, go to pushsquare.com. They actually have the news article for it. So this acquisition did go through by the Embracer Group.
But what did they get out of this?
Tomb Raider's the big name they got out of this.
Right.
Matter of fact, let me look and see, because I think the article actually said.
Because honestly, with those names, those are like that's the only game I ever hear with that developer.
Hey Andre, does Crystal Dynamics still have Soul Reaver? Do you know? So I think they still have Soul Reaver. Oh, he's off. Okay, so yeah, it's Legacy of Kain, Deus Ex, Thief, and Tomb Raider are the main ones that they got. So Deus Ex did have a good game back last gen. I know the one that came out on the Wii U and the PS3 and 360. That one wasn't bad. Tomb Raider, that reboot did help. That movie did not. And Legacy of Kain, I've been wanting Legacy of Kain to come back for a while, but I don't know how you do it, because now they'll probably try to make it too realistic. Man, I like the weirdness of Deus Ex. Not Deus Ex. Legacy of Kain.
Legacy of Kain. Like looking at their page is damn near Tomb Raider. Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen. I forgot all about Whiplash. I'm gonna be honest with you. And then this horde Marvel Avengers, but other than that, it's like Soul Reaver. Soul
Reaver. And let's be real, I don't think Marvel's going back with them again. So
I wouldn't.
I don't think they are. I think they're probably going to look for somebody else to do another game with, because Marvel is still interested in doing games. I thought they were gonna bring back Disney Studios, but apparently they're not.
Right.
Well, they haven't at this point, but
yeah.
That still remains to be seen. So
I don't know. I mean, to me, something tells me they went to him for a reason. I would assume so.
I mean, when you think about it from a logical standpoint, Eidos and Crystal Dynamics were actually a very reputable company. But the problem is, if with Avengers, them trying to make a Destiny style loot game in the Avengers, I'm sure it sounded good on paper, but not in practicality. And then it didn't help that when they went to E3 that year and put that trailer out, and it was not good at all. Hair was all over stuff was just like floating. I'm like, who put this together? And did they not know they were putting it together for E3?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Because to me, like I said, it's got to be a talent thing. Because they really don't have many franchises that's still standing. Like Deus Ex, we haven't seen that since the Wii U.
Yeah, and you have to remember, that's not the same team that used to be there back in the 6th gen. That's not the same team. Yeah. Those guys are long gone.
So, yes, at that point, unless you bring it over Tomb Raider and trying to find a way to reboot that again for the umpteenth time.
Yeah, please don't do that. Please, God,
Thief, I feel like kind of burnt itself out. I don't know. Like, I would assume they had this. As a business, you kind of already know why you're buying what you're buying because that's not a cheap acquisition.
No.
But yeah, it's got to serve a purpose, I guess.
Especially Tomb Raider, because Tomb Raider, while I didn't appreciate the movie did well.
Yeah.
So that's probably that's another one that's probably gonna be just that's a good profit to get.
Yeah.
Now I think they supposed to be doing another one. I don't know how that's gonna be taken, because what they did with that first one was put it out in March. March, as we know, is it's not exactly a dead month, but it's not a month where you have to worry about a lot of stuff. You can probably get a good 2-3 week run, make some decent money if you a semi blockbuster.
Yeah.
So which is what they did.
Yep.
Which is smart. Like sometimes it's all it is. All it takes is you putting your movie out in the right month. Good, because if you want to put that movie out up against anything that Marvel puts out, Marvel or DC for that matter, you wasn't gonna make no money.
Nah, like I said, you just gotta be smart about it.
Yeah. So there's that. Now the other thing I want to ask about this: do you think these acquisitions are gonna be good in the long run or bad for gaming as a whole? Because we know what happened at the end of the 6th gen, going to 7th gen. Everybody went HD, and that pretty much killed a lot of people. Yeah, it killed a lot of great gaming companies like Midway, Acclaim, and that's why we can't. That's why we can't find the licenses to a lot of these games, because don't nobody know where they at.
Right.
Because of that. So, do you think that with these companies buying up this stuff, will that wind up helping or being a hindrance? I'm starting to think right now it's probably gonna wind up being a hindrance.
Oh yeah, I agree, because it's definitely gonna be a hindrance, because when we let's think about it from the console standpoint, right? We had quite a few consoles to choose from. Now, granted, if you can afford them or not is a little different story.
Yeah.
And if they were worth the purchase is different. But the fact is, if you wanted to go get a ColecoVision, a Neo Geo, or whatever, you could. But now we're down to 3. And then once you go down to 3, now it seems like the other 2 are kind of migrating to PC. So now is at this point, what it's looking like is going to be PC, the cloud, and Nintendo. Like that's what it's looking like right now. And when you look at gaming, when we were just talking about variety earlier, the variety is going to dwindle because everything is going to be under one company. This one company is going to see what's profitable. So that means that there's going to be less teams or less effort to put out I guess you could say the niche game, or the game that we don't expect to sell a couple million. It's going to be a lot of games as a service, a lot of battle royale, this, that, and the third. And that's what it's gonna be, because we see it all the time. Of what works is what everybody gravitates towards. So if you don't have that free thinker, you don't have that company that does their own thing, then you're going to have a saturated market of the same stuff over and over again. So it, to me, is going to be horrible, and it's going to get pretty bad. And I see a lot of people on Twitter that kind of share the same sentiment as me. The way gaming is looking right now, I'm about to do a slow moonwalk out of the picture because it's not looking appealing at all. Like, this is a hobby I've been doing since I was 3, and it's just not looking good. It's not. And I know we have revisionist history sometimes. I mean, I get that, but at the same time, you're not going to tell me that now, as much as there's a lot of games coming out, they're not at the same quality.
Oh, like, no.
Quantity is amazing, but quality, no, not even close.
I mean, that's why I always found it funny when people say there's nothing to play. I'm like, that's BS.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I will say this: the last great gaming generation we had was the 6th generation.
6. Yeah, I agree.
All 3 systems got everything.
Yeah.
Everybody got fed.
But then it also depends on who you talk to, because when you look at this new crowd doesn't see that because they weren't a part of it. Yeah. So they feel this online generation is what was the best.
Yeah, and that really, to me, it just depends on how, like you said, how you look at it. Because nothing beats playing Super Smash Bros. Melee with a room full of people.
No,
nothing beats playing Soul Calibur 2 GameCube version. Yeah. And you just waxing everybody to the point where they tell you can't play as Link no more. Y'all just suck.
Bro.
You know, and that was the thing. I mean, like, you had, like, Sony had pretty much, like I said, if you was a JRPG fan, bruh, you had to get you a PlayStation.
You had to. You ain't had no choice.
You ain't had no choice. If you like shooters, yeah, you were getting that. You was getting the Xbox.
Yeah.
You was getting the Xbox because the 64 was a great console for shooters, but after that,
it didn't match.
It didn't match.
Yeah.
But Microsoft came in with the shooters, and that's what it was. I mean, but everybody profited well.
It had their lane too, because I mean, if you look at it from, like, for me at that time, Nintendo was my platform, like, for platformers.
Mm-hmm.
Sony was my RPG, and then for me, Xbox was my shooter/sports.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, PS2 could have been that too, but I went to Xbox because the GOAT NFL 2K5, there was a reason to get it on Xbox, because when you did those halftime shows on PS2, it was a slideshow. On Xbox, it was a full-on presentation. Yeah. So
and the controller was better on the Xbox controller, not the fat,
the S.
The S controller was actually way
don't
better.
Don't be shitting on my Duke.
Man, nobody liked
Look, anybody like that dude. I never understood black and white button. I never understood what made them do that.
I didn't get that either.
Yeah. Look, all I can tell you is the Duke was enough to beat the brakes off somebody with, because it did not break. It did not break. If somebody tries, you just slap them with it.
Yep.
You're gonna crack their jaw. Your controller's gonna be fine.
Yep.
Unless you bought the Mad Catz version.
Mad Catz. Yeah. We ain't gonna talk about Mad Catz.
1999 for one day of gameplay.
Mad Catz had me as a child ready to fight, because I was like, how did you turn off my console? That makes no sense to me. How do you trip a console? Like, and it wasn't even a situation of, just turn it back on. I had to unplug it from the wall and plug it back in for it to work. That made no sense to me.
Just be glad you weren't playing Eternal Darkness 1. But yeah, it's a weird situation, because I just see like 7th gen all over again, where we lose a lot of stuff. And
oh yeah, we're about to lose a lot.
I mean, look at Microsoft. Microsoft made all that big hullabaloo a few years ago about how many studios they bought. Seeing games from them.
Like I said, you're just gonna have a big workforce on one game, and to me, what it's gonna do is games may come out faster because you have a bigger team on it, but it's gonna be your typical game, and that's what we're about to get to. It's about to be real typical up in here, and like I said, it may be time to bow out. Nintendo can only do so much.
Still be crazy.
Nintendo's still gonna be crazy, and that was something too that I wanted to ask y'all, because it came up today with the 3 companies that make consoles. Do you think they should be putting out more product than the companies that do not have to manage the console.
They shouldn't, but in Nintendo's case, they are their own.
They're their own, yeah.
Yeah, they have an R&D team that actually works on console, and they have like 4 or 5 teams that actually do games. So
right, because every time I look at it, they'll say like, because you have that group of people that's like, I only play exclusives. So they'll say that it's a dead year because I only got 3 or 4 games this year, and I'm like, to me,
Nintendo, you didn't. Not
right,
Nintendo,
not
you didn't.
Nintendo. But the thing is, it's like if I'm responsible. Granted, I know there's different teams. I understand that, but if I'm managing the console, if I give you the console and I'm outdoing you on the game front too, like, what do I need you for? Because you're supposed to be.
And hence the problem.
This is crazy, but I don't know.
It doesn't make sense, but at the same time, you're like, look, man, if you are doing it, like you said, what do I need you for?
Yeah,
you need me. I don't need you.
Like, I'm putting out the console and a better game. Like, come on. I'm gonna need you to step it up.
Yep. I mean, I think that's pretty much where we're at as far as like gaming is concerned. Just because of how things are. I really hate that like we lost creativity.
Oh yeah.
For realism, I'm like, because I live in the real world. I want to go back into it. It's the whole reason why I came, to lose myself for a couple hours a day.
Yep.
In another world. But then again, that's what I like to do. I like to play fantasy adventure, action adventure, fighting, stuff like that. I've never been the person that loves simulation stuff, because for instance, I like playing basketball. I'd rather go to a playground and shoot ball than play 2K. I'd rather just go to a playground. But NBA Jam, I'll play that all day. Why?
All day.
Because I can't turn on fire and burn up a rim. I can't do that.
And do 5 front flips in the air and then dunk.
Yeah, I can't do that. So, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's why I loved NBA Street so much.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't realistic. Yeah, they did make an exaggerated version of Stretch. What's that guy's name? Stretch. Yeah. They did an exaggerated version of him, but other than that, you ain't know most of them guys.
Yeah,
they're just exaggerated versions of other people. So I mean, that's where I'm at with gaming. So I mean, if it were me, I would probably be more on like Nintendo's train of thought of, we're just gonna do you. We'll be over here in our own little sandbox doing us, and y'all can fight over realism and all that other stuff. We'll be over here making stuff that makes absolutely no sense and selling out.
So now, do you think we're gonna get to a point to where, yes, we're right here in this realism situation and it's gonna die out, things are gonna go stale, and then there's gonna be a resurgence of, now we got to get back to the roots of what we were doing?
Everything happens in a cycle.
That's true. That's very true.
Everything happens in a cycle.
Because it's got to reset. Because for me, if I was a developer, right, at this point, I've been riding the Sony and Microsoft train. And I see that technology is only going to increase. Sony's increased their game amount. They increased their console amount. So at this point, I'm like, all right, cool. Thank y'all for riding with us. But we're going to do a reboot. And we're going to go F with Nintendo at this point. And I'm not saying that because, Nintendo's my preferred platform, but they're the only console maker right now that's going to allow you to use creativity and get sales. Because let's be honest, I don't know too many creative games that sell well on the Xbox and PlayStation.
Astral Chain. They came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere, but that would have bombed on PlayStation and Xbox. The fact that we always bring this up, but the fact that Sunset Overdrive did not do what it should have done. There's no reason that game should have not been a smash.
It was on the wrong console.
Exactly. And it was on the wrong console, and that's when you say it out loud, it's like, what do you mean it's on the wrong console? Like, it's a game. But
that base don't
fool with it.
Yeah.
They don't fool with it.
That's why I'm very interested to see what No More Heroes 3 does. I'm very interested to see what No More Heroes 3 does, because 1 and 2 came out on PS3.
Yeah.
That games didn't sell like that.
No.
So I'm very interested to see what 3 does. And by the way, if you haven't played No More Heroes 3 and you like Travis Touchdown, please play it. That game is awesome.
Yeah.
Especially the end. Suda 5-1, bruh, why? Just why? Yeah. But it worked. So I'm all for it. But yeah, No More Heroes 3, I'm very interested to see, because I think it comes out for, what is it? Sony and Xbox next month, I think.
So.
Next month.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's gonna be real interesting to see, because once again, I just don't think that base messes with it.
No,
they don't.
They're not. They don't. Yeah. They're not going to. And unfortunately, I don't even know who to blame, because I'm trying to think of where realism really came into the picture and where it stuck. Because the only thing I can really think of realism-wise for in a way is Call of Duty. But
what happened, I think what happened was a mix of things. One, it was the whole casual versus hardcore gamer.
Right.
And then you had like Destiny. Activision was bragging about spending $500 million on Destiny, and you're like, no video game should cost that much.
Right.
You're not going to make your money back like that. Video games are meant to be evergreen.
Right.
It's not supposed to be. You're not going to make your money back in a month.
No.
But you got people who look at stuff like movies.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, they made what was it? Avengers made $200 million in one weekend. Yeah, because it's way more fans of movies than there are of video games. If your video game costs $225 million to make, you're not making that back in a weekend.
But also, you think about accessibility. I don't have to own a theater. Yeah. I can just take my ass to a theater.
Yeah, I just go to the theater. And the tickets are, even though the tickets have gone up, tickets are $25.
Right.
I'm not paying $60 for a ticket. I'm not paying $70 for a ticket.
Yep.
You know, that's the thing that's happening, and you have it, and like people don't want to believe it, but I'm like, dude, when I heard that from Activision, I'm like, no game should cost this. Then I started looking and seeing how much some of these games cost. Darksiders. I love the Darksiders series. Darksiders 1 and 2 was $50 and $75 million to make. It shouldn't have been that much. It shouldn't have been that much.
Did they go to hell and mocap the devil himself?
So that's the thing. Like when you hear how much they cost, I'm like, yeah, you're not gonna make, because that's a niche game. You're not gonna make that, and even still, you may not even hit that, you know, in a year.
No.
I mean, that's what happened with Bayonetta. The first Bayonetta comes out. The first Bayonetta comes out and it doesn't sell like that. Bayonetta 2 comes out on Wii U, and that's on a dead console, and it sold more than it did on 360 and PS3.
Combined.
Like I said, PS3 I understand to an extent because of how bad it ran, but when it comes down, I don't know. Like, to me, I don't know. Gaming in itself is in trouble because Nintendo can't hold it up by themselves. They're not going to. Sega needs to come. I'm telling you, as much as we see the renders of like a Dreamcast 2, they don't even have to call it a Dreamcast. I think that'd be a great marketing ploy. But if they're going to do a Dreamcast 2, Sega can't come back as another Microsoft or Sony. No. They have to come back as Sega, the new Sega, because we don't want you releasing Dreamcast 2 and the Dreamcast 3 come out next year. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that shit. Shut that down. But
y'all are on a 5-year. You cannot release that until 5 years.
No, please don't do that.
I agree with Wilton as to why everything is so expensive.
Yeah. You pay. Yeah. This.
But you're paying for these graphics. And to me, I felt like
and you're paying voice actors that you have to pay their regular rate. You're not paying if Angelina Jolie comes in and does your voice in one of your games, you're paying Angelina Jolie's rate. Good luck with that, by the way.
So this is the thing too. So I'm glad y'all brought this up. So when we start talking about selling points, whether you talk about the actors or you're talking about like comedians, or you're talking about Microsoft with putting all these luxury cards on the Forza. They got the latest, greatest that you can't afford sitting on the stage. but that's going to cost money to have that up there. Now, I understand you got, celebrities that love gaming. I'm not going to act like celebrities are different people. They're not. They just make more money than you, and people care more about them than they should. But they come with a cost, because it's not like they're up there, oh, I love this game, or I love Microsoft, so I'm doing this for free. They're not. So to me, when you talk about as an actor, if you tell me that I make a lot of money in these movies, but I have the privilege to also be an actor in this game, but you still gonna pay me something close to what I get in this movie over here from Warner Brothers, do you think that's more of a detriment to gaming? Because while they want to do it because they like it, they're trying to still get their look and their shine from over here to bring over to this fan page. So it's kind of like the movie company is draining the gaming company in itself. Because honestly, when you talk about like Kojima, a lot of people feel like, and I think it is proof, Kojima is just trying to utilize gaming as a forefront to get into the movie industry. So he's kind of using it as a stepping stone to where gaming's kind of allowing it right now.
All of that. Because the thing is, you're into music.
Yeah,
we've seen it with rap stars. They use their music to get into movies.
Yeah,
Kojima's made friends with a lot of people. None of them more so than Jeff Keighley.
Hey, that's not a friend, sir. That is not. You respect that relationship.
But like Guillermo del Toro,
that is one of the most loyal relationships in the game.
The weirdest one, yeah. But he knows Norman Reedus, Guillermo del Toro, Lea Seydoux, and all them, and they've worked with them, so I can see that. But the thing is, like you said, you got to pay their rate.
Yeah,
Keanu Reeves ain't doing no pro bono work.
No.
I love Lance Reddick, but Lance Reddick
not for gaming anyway.
No.
Yeah, Lance Reddick's gonna get paid. You're gonna have to pay him because that's time he could be utilizing on a movie set.
Yeah, exactly.
Come in and do, your game, come in and spend 2 weeks in a recording studio and another month doing mocap. I could have been on this set for something else. Which
to me would work if they did it the same way Activision or Neversoft did Tony Hawk, because there was like this old interview that popped up, I think from like the Howard Stern show with Tony Hawk, to where he was saying like his biggest check that he got from Tony Hawk, like when they first started it, he didn't understand the gaming industry and how he got paid out, but he was like, he got a $4 million check because Tony Hawk's games were like popping like that. So my thing is this: if you think about Norman Reedus, yes, in a way, Death Stranding was kind of centered around him, but it wasn't his game. Like, it doesn't have his name on it. So to me, I feel like I can compensate you by not spending so much money on you out the gate by saying, hey, you're going to get some type of percentage for these game sales. But they don't do it like that. It's like, hey, come in, bring realism to my game. You don't get any of the profits per se, but so that means we got to pay more up front.
You got to pay my rate.
I can tell you right now, they are not just paying the upfront rate; they're paying the upfront rate and residuals.
Ain't no way in hell I'm doing that. You're either getting one or the other.
Well, that's the thing. But when you get into that whole AAA mindset, that's why these games ain't making profit. That's why you got to sell like 10, 20 million just to hope you can break even.
But then my thing is, then what is the purpose? Because if we're still doing this, it's not like, oh, we see it's not going to turn a profit. At this point, somebody is succeeding at least for this shit to still be happening.
Well, if you're looking at it from Sony's standpoint, okay, let's take Death Stranding for example.
Right.
Sony still has Sony Pictures, right?
Right.
If this game does well, I could turn it into a movie. I already got the cast. I don't care about the game. I don't care about the damn game. I still got the cast. I can turn this into a movie. I can make most of my money back.
That's a hell of a bet, though, because even when you think about the Uncharted movie, that shit bombed. Like, it's
and look where's Sony at now? Where's Sony at now?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just using an example. I mean,
right.
Uncharted did bomb, but Uncharted bombed because it's Indiana Jones. We've already seen it. You based your game off Indiana Jones,
and plus you did it too late. Because honestly, we was at number 4, and then you did a movie. Yeah,
and now you trying to the game that was based off of a movie series is not trying to be a movie.
Yeah.
based off of
It just didn't
two
work.
games, like a movie series in a game with Tomb Raider, because it's like you're just copying off of shit. Like I get that.
Yeah, but so once again, this could have all been avoided had Sony not tried to keep up with Microsoft. This could have all been avoided.
Really, to me, honestly, like I get it. Like there's a great story, but when you look at stuff like Last of Us, got the new God of War, not the old one, because I feel like that's where it should have stayed. Yeah. You look at Ghost, even like as much as I love Ghost of Tsushima, like Ghost, those would have been better movies for Sony Pictures than a video game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still want to see Ghost of Tsushima as a movie.
That would be an amazing freaking movie. But the thing is, you blew money on the game. Because there's no way in hell you're going to tell me it did a nasty return.
No, it did. Because remember, they put it on sale like as soon as it came out.
Immediately.
Yep. Yeah, it was on sale. Like I want to say, because it came out, and then I think the first holiday that it went on sale immediately for like that weekend.
But that's also a problem with Sony. Sony does not value its own games because it goes on sale so damn quick.
Yeah, and so let's just say.
Well, they built this culture up with the PS3 though.
Yes,
that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
like, this game's going to drop down in price to from $60 down to $20, and then you can get it.
30, yeah. And that's what happened. You say, okay, well, if we sold the game at a loss at 60. If you take it down to 30 and you sell like 200, let's just say 200, you made 200 in sales that weekend, like you sold 200 units that weekend, you're still not making a profit because you had to sit it at 30 and you're still below because you just cut it in half.
So my thing is, and I know we don't know, but I feel like Sony either A is just swinging blind or either they have a bigger plan. Because
I think they have a plan. I just don't think it's working.
Exactly. Because it's like, I get it. When we think about something like, for me being so heavily involved with VR, Facebook and Meta did a great job of, hey, yeah, we took a hell of a hit, but guess what? We got eyes on us now. So now we can go and continue moving forward because now that you got a taste of it, no matter what it is we do, you here now. So I get it. And Microsoft did the same thing. $1 for Game Pass. We gonna get you in there. Yep. You gonna get hooked, and that's cool. But now, when I look at Sony, hey, we spent $500 million on this game. You're in here, you're hooked. We're gonna spend another 500. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, at what point do you transition?
And then you have to sell some of your divisions because you can't keep up.
Correct. So to me, it's like, okay, then what is the point?
Some. Because are we being that generous? Some.
I was trying to be nice, man. I was trying to be nice.
Because you're not gonna sit here and tell me like they're getting a crazy turnaround, and I think what the highest they've sold is 20, maybe 30 million on the exclusive.
Yeah,
maybe.
And that's only a few.
And that's only a
few of theirs that have done that.
I think God of War did it. I want to say Spider-Man
versus Nintendo having like 20 to 30 exclusives that get at least 10 million.
Exactly.
And some of them are reaching 20.
Yes, like the fact that you look at Nintendo's list and you say you can't even get on this list until you get to 15.
Yeah.
like come on, like this is insane.
You still got like people buying Breath of the Wild. You still got people buying Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You still got people buying Mario Odyssey.
And watch this. Breath of the Wild is going to get another boost because this is what happens with the gaming industry. When the sequel's coming out, people buy the older game to play catch up because it's been so long to get caught up on the story, and then they'll buy the sequel.
Like if I'm Nintendo,
so you're going to see a bunch more sales of Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, and Breath of the Wild.
Dude, if I'm Nintendo, the first thing I'm doing, right, like 2 months before Breath of the Wild drop, I'm releasing the physical again of the first Breath of the Wild.
Yes, for sure, no doubt. And I'll be bold enough to
do it as a player's choice.
Yeah, do it as a player's choice. Yeah, I already made my money. I can let that be $19.
Yeah,
I already made my money.
Because at this point now, I'll give you a discount if you pre-order Breath of the Wild 2, you get Breath of the Wild on discount.
Yeah.
Like it wins.
If you're talking digitally, yeah.
If you're talking digitally, of course. Now GameStop might pull some shit. Like we know
Yeah,
that. But
what you mean, Mike? What you mean, Mike?
Yeah. Like, turn in Breath of the Wild and get $5 extra off. Like, all right, you already got it down to 15. Ooh, $20. Like, all right, but but yeah, I mean, but this goes way back to like one of the episodes we had as far as like the futures for these consoles. And RJH brings up a good point too. Sony with this VR headset, this shit's not gonna be under $500. It's not even.
No, it ain't.
Not even close.
The two. I don't
it's not even close because a lot of people say, "Oh, they're not going to get it close to the console." The original was $400.
Yes, they are.
Like the original was $400.
Same price as the PS4.
Yes,
unless they're not trying to make a profit, which would be stupid.
Well, it seems like a trend, sir. So
they just raise prices. They just raise prices everywhere else. They'd be dumb if they release this lower than that.
So to me, I'm looking at this and I don't know what Sony's trying to do, because to me, the every other division for them is dead except for movies. But movies and music,
movies and potentially music.
Yeah. So
well, I take that back. They still have. Didn't they get the Michael Jackson and Prince? No, Warner Bros. Got Prince.
Yeah.
Didn't they get?
That's why I said movies and potentially music.
Yeah, I mean, then you still got people that signed to Sony. But honestly, when we talk about the gaming division, with your exclusives, you're down to only a handful. They don't really sell like that. No, as many consoles as you have, them attach rates are
garbage.
But then you also factor in the fact that you drop the prices on them super quick. Everybody was clamoring for Returnal, and now no one's talking about Returnal. A lot of Sony's clout comes from
it's Metroid in 3D.
Xbox. Exactly. Like if Xbox didn't exist, a lot of this would not happen for Sony. People buy it just so Xbox, they can hold something up to Xbox's face. But for me, Sony has no future. They don't.
Not unless they change.
Because they forgot their identity.
Well, did they have one? Because it seemed like their identity was Nintendo's.
They did up until the end of the PS2.
Yeah, they had one till the end of the 6th gen. The end of the 6th gen is when they had one.
But can we say they really had one? Because honestly, for me, when you look at Sony, like when you really lay it all out, for me, Sony was trying to be Nintendo at first, just a more quote unquote adult version of it. And then when Microsoft showed up, they tried to be a Microsoft.
Yeah.
So they still had an identity because they still had their own original stuff. Even if it wasn't as much as Nintendo, they did have their own originals that were a decent competition.
Yeah, they were getting there.
Okay.
Actually, they were actually getting there.
Yeah.
And all that, and then they just once again, when Sony saw Microsoft and decided that hey, we can keep up with them too. We Sony.
They got in over their heads on that one. I'm like, where's Parappa the Rapper? Where is Tomba? Where is Siphon Filter?
Yeah.
Where are those games?
Ape Escape, all those games were there.
Ape Escape should have been come back.
Came back. Yeah. I don't know. Like, and that's what worries me, because it's not even the fact that I don't care for, like, I love the fact that we have competition. I love the fact that if I wanted to go out and get a PS5, I can and play different games. I love that idea, because some days I don't feel like playing my Switch. Some days I don't feel like playing the Xbox or VR. Like, I want to play something different. And that's what these consoles used to provide. Like, if I wanted to be arcadey, I would go straight to Dreamcast at one point in time. If I wanted to do some wacky wild shit, I would go to my GameCube. If I wanted to play damn near everything up under the sun, I would go to my PS2. And then Xbox was there for like just something different. But now it's getting very saturated, and the fact that everybody wants to put everything on Sony, and Sony may not even be around, that's kind of scary, because who do you go to?
Everything's becoming too homogenized. That's the big problem.
Yeah.
Like, do you think the developers, like, I'm curious. So everybody knows the history of Nintendo and just how savage they were and kind of why Sony gets the love that they do. But do you think people say, okay, if Sony, God forbid, if Sony drops off, do the developers go, hey, Nintendo, we're back? Or do you think they go cloud?
Oh, they going Microsoft and cloud. They
Wow.
especially a lot of them spiteful. They definitely doing that.
I think you have some of them that would come back, just because like Iwata did smooth a lot of stuff over.
He did.
Yeah. He really did. But I think most of them will probably go that route because they'll be under the guise of my stuff is so much more powerful and so much more in depth than anything that we know how that goes.
Wow, that's to me that would be nuts because like you said, every generation we lose somebody, and 9 times out of 10, a lot of these companies only stay afloat because somebody bought them. And the fact that you keep pushing this issue is ridiculous. Like that's not business savvy to me. Like I may not be the best businessman out here, but to me, the writing's on the wall. When you look at somebody like Capcom, right? If I'm Capcom and I see Monster Hunter seems to be flourishing the best on Nintendo's console after we took it from Sony and put it over there, why would I not put all my resources there? When it comes down to Street Fighter, now to me, it doesn't have to be a loyalty thing, but Street Fighter started off over there on Nintendo, but then it seems like it never comes now.
Well, the thing is, you can't, and they can't use Capcom cannot use the excuse of, the engine just doesn't work. No,
they can't use
bullshit.
Your engine
already proved the opposite.
Yeah, and you've made a lot of money. You thank people for buying the game because you made a lot of money off of it.
Yes.
So your engine works. So you can't use that excuse.
That's the excuse. That's their reason for not putting the updated versions of Resident Evil on there, and they could have done it by now.
And here's the other thing too. But if I'm Capcom, I'm like, okay, if I'm not doing that, I have over 300 licenses that I own. Final Fight, since Brawlers are back, we're redoing Final Fight. We make it switch the lead platform for it. Go.
Hey, how about this? How about this? We go back and redo Forgotten Worlds, or we go back and redo Captain Commando, do Section Z over.
Project Justice. You know what? Beautiful Joe.
Bravo Schools. God damn.
Beautiful Joe deserves to get that last game out.
Beautiful Joe deserves a collection too.
But so now, even with that, because we all know what Capcom has, do they start categorizing? Hey, these games multi-plat, these games exclusive, and do it that way? Because to me,
that's what they should have been.
That's what they were doing before,
right? Because like for me, for your fighters, of course, that's a no-brainer. You multi-plat. But by no means am I bringing Beautiful Joe to Xbox or PlayStation. Like,
it's not going to sell.
That's not going to sell.
They proved it wouldn't sell with the PS2 version.
Exactly. So now, when I also look at something like Resident Evil, I don't play it, so y'all be able to tell better than I would. To me, I kind of look at that as a Sony Microsoft thing. I don't see people buying
because Resident Evil has done decent across the board. Even the N64 version of Resident Evil 2 did pretty decent.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, Resident Evil 4 and Revelations did real well. That's why I didn't understand why
on Nintendo.
That's why I didn't understand why they didn't put Revelations 2 on what was it, the Wii U at the time, when Resident Evil Revelations came out on 3DS and sold gangbusters for them. Then they redid it for HD and it sold again
on the Wii U.
So I didn't understand why they didn't do that, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
But yeah, they have a lot of titles they can use. Okay, you don't want to put you want to show Street Fighter loyalty to Microsoft, PC, and Sony. Fine, then just put Project Justice on.
There you go. Yeah.
On there, or give Platinum Beautiful Joe back and let Beautiful Joe come to Nintendo.
Yeah, because
they ain't gonna do that one.
Because to me, like, developers,
they're not using it.
Because to me, developers are gonna have to start establishing exclusivity at this point. And I know it sounds bad, but to me, there's just
that's the only thing that's gonna help this industry.
Exactly. Yeah. Like they're gonna have to be the one. They're the ones that kind of effed it up, so they kind of have to fix it. So at this point, when I look at these different developers, look and see, like, if you want to look at the numbers, okay, see where this one's gonna go. See if this one can live on all platforms, because one, that kind of saves you when it comes down to profit and expenses. Because if I can take all my resources and know for a fact that, hey, look, this game, like Beautiful Joe, only is going to survive on Nintendo. So that means I only need a team to work on Nintendo. We ain't got to worry about PC. We ain't got to worry about PlayStation or Microsoft. So I feel like you had a better product. to where when you talk about a Street Fighter, you're gonna have to have all hands on deck because that needs to be multi-plat, including PC.
Yeah,
but
well, this one from Chanel, yeah, I agree.
Breath of Fire.
Breath of Fire. It should have been back, but that's neither here nor there. All right, so before we get out of here, people, I did want to let now if you was around 5 o'clock, Shadow Fox and myself did an impressions of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. You can go check that out. It's on the channel. But I wanted to get Jack's thoughts on his first. How many hours you in?
Is it 10?
10? Okay.
Yeah.
What's your first thoughts of Xenoblade Chronicles 3?
Okay, so at this point I'm on chapter 3 because I've just been playing around. Trying to get higher than what I need to be. I'm trying to get overpowered at this point. But yeah, just getting into trying to get used to the battle mechanics as far as like these I'm blanking on the name where we combine shit.
The interlink.
Yeah, the interlink. So getting accustomed to that, when to properly use it, really trying to get the best team layout that I can now that we're getting to the point of there's more classes. Because at first I was like, oh, we only have, a handful of classes. Like when that list showed up and it was like this, I was like, oh, okay, gotcha. So
yeah,
okay.
No, they did not show you everything in that.
Exactly. So I'm kind of glad they didn't, because at that point, way too many options for you to choose. So at this point, now I'm like, okay, well, who is best suited for this? And could I come in here with like a full defense force and then have like a few healers and just trying to play around with it. And I love the idea of it, to where we have these different classes and the environments in themselves are kind of crazy. Like it's ridiculous, and how many things going into this game with the gems and the accessories and the look of the game and how it's a lot with this game. And the crazy part, and the thing I hate the most is Splatoon is right around the corner. So I don't have like a lot of time to really continue to delve in this, because I'll be honest with you, I love Xeno, but Splatoon is still my preferred.
That's your number one, yeah.
That's my number one. So Xeno will go on the back burner. Like the only thing that saved Xeno this weekend was my son hogged Splatoon. Like he went into it.
The Splatfest was this weekend.
Yeah, he hogged the hell out of that. So
that was fun though. That Splatfest was fun.
I played one. I was like, can I like get one match in? I was like, just let me get one damn match in. So I was like, so just going through, and it was just like seamless. So it's like killing it, the motion and all that. So
you gonna need 2 copies of that game. You know that, right?
Oh, no, his mama gonna buy him the other one, but he was here, so only my Switch is here. So I was like, all right, cool. Okay. So going forward, you're bringing your Switch to my house, but because you're not hogging mine, that's not happening. But for Xeno, I see what y'all talking about now as far as Torna. When we talk about this battle system and kind of how it went from Chronicles 2 to where it is now. Like I love how easily I can swap out, how I can, go from like follow the lead to like now everybody kind of focus on this, focus on that, and just kind of coming up with your own strategy, especially with the chain attacks. So I'm
need to play with that, by the way. I'm just gonna go and tell you that right now. You're gonna need to play with that. Experiment a lot.
And I'm noticing that, because whenever I started doing it, I'm like, okay, I'm going, and I always use it when they're about to die, so I can get an overkill. So now it's like, okay, well, I'm doing this, and then once when it gets to like the 3rd iteration, there's only like one person left, and I was like, well, what determines that? And then like using the healers, and it caps off at 99, and I'm like, I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah. So it's something that I know for a fact you're gonna have to play with, and I'm trying my damnness not to YouTube this shit to where somebody's like, oh, you gotta do this, and this.
Well, the thing is, the game does give you a lot of tips and tutorials, so they do a better job of guiding you through than Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2
they have.
X ever did. So far. Yeah, because even one of my main complaints with the first one, X and the second one, was there was a lot of times they didn't tell you how to do stuff that you needed to know in order to be good at the game.
Right.
Like you basically had to go through trial and error and die a bunch of times before you figured it out. Here they like, okay, look, we're gonna show you how to do this, but you still need to play around with it, because you're gonna run up on somebody that's gonna straight up, for lack of a better term, take his foot, turn that some sideways, and stick it straight up your candy ass.
Yeah. Trust me. I've experienced that to where, like, for me, I'm looking at a fight of, okay, here's a level 15. We all 18, so we should be cool, right? We should all be like, we're gonna jump the shit out of them, like, and then one monster just comes out of nowhere, the same level, and we get washed, and I'm like, well, what the hell happened here? Like, it's like 80 against 2. Like, how do we not know? Right? And I was like, you try to drag people out, and it's like, so I mean, I love, I'm loving the game, I'm loving the combat system. The story in itself is actually pretty good, because usually with most games, stories take too long to build up, and that's why I prefer movies, because if you're gonna draw me out in a story, it's just like, all right, I'm ready.
This will jump right into it.
They jumped right into it. Yeah.
They told you what the main theme of this was from the word go, and they started killing people immediately.
And that's what I like, because when I turn the game on, I'm like, oh, here goes this long ass war cutscene, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm in control. All right, my bad. Like, all right, I like that, but because too many times games just drag it out, and I'm like, okay, you already done turned me off before I even got started. And then now I got to go through tutorials too. Like, all right, can I play the damn game? Like, I'm ready to play.
Well, I will say this: like, it gets to a point where it gets hella emotional, and
that's
some of the stuff I saw coming, but there was a couple things I did not see coming. So, and you know how much stuff I watch.
Yeah,
I'm like, I ain't see that coming. But I will say I'm glad you're having fun with it, because I think, like, it's one of those games that should be in everybody's library.
Yeah, for sure.
To be fair, especially if you're
waiting on mine.
Especially if you're a fan of open world stuff.
Yeah.
I don't see why you would not want to play this game.
For my sake, I wish those release dates would have been the old release dates. Yeah, because at this time I would have had a lot of time with Splatoon and wouldn't have mind taking a break to go to Xeno. But
I feel bad because, like, once again, we're in this post-pandemic stuff where stuff's just on top of each other, and something got to give.
Something got to give at this point.
Something got to give. That's why I'm kind of glad. Like, the next thing I'm really getting is Bayonetta.
Yeah, because I was about to say I got saved from Saints Row.
Yeah,
I got saved.
Yeah, whew, Lord.
Because I was waiting on that, and then I was like, ooh, shit, no, I'm good on that.
I am so good.
I'm good on that.
Game Pass. So yeah, but that and Sonic Frontiers is November 8th, but I'll be good by then.
Yeah.
You know, so it wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, that I agree with you. It probably should have stayed the same. I understand why they did it to an extent.
Yeah. But
at the same time, like, because I'm thinking Xenoblade was just ready to go, and they just like, okay, we don't have to hold it.
Yeah.
We don't have to hold it. And Splatoon, you still have to do the test. That's basically what this was. This was a server test.
You have to do that test.
Yeah, this was a server test. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
They hid it behind the Splatfest, but it was a server test.
Yep. And it was a great running. Like,
that server test was smooth.
Yeah, it was smooth as hell.
Yeah, so they're getting better with it, which, once again, I have to remind people, Nintendo's not a computer company, so they're getting better.
Yeah. Which
is what they need to do. They need to get better. You have to invest in building up your network properly and get away from it.
Whatever they did with this, they need to do across the board, because the Switch Sports one, trash. Yeah. Like that took forever to get into.
Yeah, which that can be patched in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be interesting. It should be interesting though. But yeah, glad you're having fun with it. Andre, I'll ask you for yours when you get yours. All right.
Yeah. Give it like a week or so.
All right, cool. All right, so people, we're gonna call it a night. I know we kind of went a little bit over. I do apologize. Andre, anything you want to pimp out?
I mean, the same thing I pimped out last weekend. I just got that video up this week for that game I was promoting for their Kickstarter.
Oh,
just go over to my channel and see it.
Cool. Jack.
No, not really. I might start doing like just voiceovers for the gaming channel, because there are some things I kind of want to talk about that's coming up, both on Nintendo's front and the VR front, because it's some interesting stuff, especially now with this new meta accounts and the new games that's supposed to be coming up, and some that got canceled even, because I was looking forward to this Assassin's Creed as well as Splinter Cell, but then Activision was like, Ubisoft was like, nah, we're not doing this no more. So they kind of shut it down. And kind of getting into a conversation about how it's a split right now in the VR community, to where you have those that's been riding with VR since its inception, and they want to see those AAA games come over, to where those of us that's just getting into it are like, no, we just enjoyed the arcade aspect of it. But now it's kind of like a divide, because right now you talk about, Resident Evil 4, Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, great games, don't get me wrong, but then I still enjoy those arcade games, those games that kind of get you into VR. You know what I mean? So right now it's kind of a mixed situation, but nonetheless, now that the new Quest is supposed to be coming out in October, even though that's geared more towards enterprise, people are still gonna buy it and still game on it and stuff like that. But imagining that's gonna be in the 4 digits, I got a feeling. But because this when after they explain the specs of it, this ain't a slouch, and it's wireless. Yeah, I can foresee this being kind of hefty. But yeah, other than that, just trying to think about doing more content that way. Again, like I said, the music's always there. I want to get some more over to you, but I want to ask you if you wanted something that's more game specific or just anything as far as the music for the background. But we can talk about that later.
Yeah, anything. For me, and just a quick aside, we won't have an episode next Sunday. So we will not have an episode next Sunday because I'm going to be a little busy. That's my birthday, so I'm going to be a little busy.
Turn up
Sunday, so we will not have an episode next Sunday, but we will be back the 11th. So we'll be back the following Sunday, the 11th. So, yeah. Other than that, I was going to do a quick apology. I know I said I was going to have some gameplay, some live streams done last week. I got sick, so I do apologize for that. I'm going to try to make that up this week. I want to do something. I want to start doing a little bit of a theme when I do my live streams. And this one, I might start taking a look at RPGs just because I've been on an RPG kick lately. So I may look at some of my favorite RPGs from this generation that's out. For the present generation, and I may do something like that. Some of them I've already played, so some of them I'll probably do some playthroughs with commentary and stuff like that. But I will set that up for next week. Hopefully, I'll be able to pull that off if nothing crazy happens. Let's hope nothing crazy happens. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Also, you can check out me and Shadow Fox's Xenoblade Chronicles 3 First Impressions vid. We did that earlier today. Also, me and Vicky gave our thoughts on She-Hulk episode 2. So please check that out as well. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow all the other good stuff, and follow everybody on here. So yeah, do all that. And we will catch you guys in 2 weeks on the 11th. So peace out, peoples.
Peace.
Peace, everybody.